Very good evening. You're watching Beyond the Headlines with me, Tamanna Inamdar. Now, the 90s and early 2000s were dominated by the narrative of connections between the underworld and Bollywood stars. Stories would abound of criminal gangs funding movies and top actors at their beck and call. The murder of Gulshan Kumar, the owner of music label T-Series, exposed this ugly nexus. These stories and reports have now become. Punjabi pop star Sidhu Moosewala was allegedly murdered by members of the Lawrence Bishnoi gang. Today, a letter was found outside Bollywood superstar Salman Khan's house that threatened both Salman and his father Salim, saying that they would soon meet the same fate. In fact, in Hindi, it said that Salman Khan, बहुत जल्द आपका मुंह से वाला होगा. Now, according to the police, the letter was found on a bench where Salim Khan usually sits after he finishes his jogging routine every day. And now here is where it gets more threatening. The letter carries the initials of GB and LB. It's being assumed that GB could refer to Goldie Brar, a gangster who's claimed on Facebook that he was behind the murder of the Punjabi rapper Sidhu Moosewala a few days ago. LB is possibly standing for Lawrence Bishnoi, another gangster who's under arrest and is being probed for connections with the Moosewala case. He's also been questioned after Salman's threat letter. Now, investigations are still on whether this is actually a threat or just a prank. Is the person who's saying "Tumhara Moosewala kar denge," is it just some deranged fan? But coming so close on the heels of the Moosewala murder, the Mumbai police is unlikely to take a chance. So let's get into the details of the story. Who exactly is Lawrence Bishnoi? The 31-year-old Bishnoi is believed to be the leader of a 700-member gang that has allegedly been involved in several murders and extortion cases across Delhi, Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, Punjab and Rajasthan. Bishnoi has been in Delhi's high-security Tihar jail since 2021, but that hasn't stopped him from actively leading his gang, even those who are based abroad. He has been threatening Salman Khan since 2011, and though he now denies that he killed Sidhu Moosewala, investigations are on into a growing nexus between underworld gangs and pop singers. It's not as if Bollywood has been spared threats from gangs in recent times either. So we talked about Salman Khan. The same Salman Khan was threatened by Lawrence Bishnoi during the Black Buck case hearing in the past. So this is why the Lawrence Bishnoi angle is being looked at more closely. Shah Rukh Khan was threatened as well not so long ago during the release of Happy New Year, and the threat note read, "Next target SRK." Sonu Nigam says he was threatened in 2013 by the underworld and asked to cancel a certain deal with an event company. Now, why exactly that deal was asked to be cancelled is not yet clear. Arijit Singh, the singer, was also threatened by Don Ravi Pujari in 2015. And he was asked to pay up 5 crore rupees. The story goes that he offered to instead perform because he couldn't pay the money. Preeti Zinta and Ness Wadia. Remember that case when Preeti accused her then partner Ness of molestation? Ness's father alleged that there were threats received by him from Ravi Pujari, the gangster. Sonu Sood was also allegedly threatened by Ravi Pujari. Farhan Akhtar allegedly received extortion calls. So there is quite a bit of history, and all of these stories that we've heard in these days of yore, are they truly over? Before we get to the discussion, and we have two great experts lined up for you, people who have really lived those days of, gangsters and Bollywood, and can take us through what we're probably missing today, even as we read the headline. But before that, I want to play out for you the comment by the top cop in Mumbai when asked about Salman Khan's security.
को डिटेन करने की नौबत अभी तक नहीं आई है, लेकिन मैं इतना ही कहना चाहता हूं कि इसके बारे में हमें हमें पता चला है, पर हम भी उतनी ही गंभीरता से उसको देख रहे हैं। एक दिन के अंदर फर्जी लेटर सिद्ध कर पाना तो बहुत मुश्किल काम है, लेकिन जो भी उसमें लिखा है, जो भी मजकूर है, जो भी तरीका है, उसको हम पूरी गंभीरता से उसकी शिनाख्त कर रहे हैं।
All right. PK Jain, former ADG, Maharashtra, with us on the show today. I'm also speaking with Deepak Sharma, senior crime and investigative journalist. Welcome to both of you, and thank you so much for speaking with us on Beyond the Headline. Mr. Jain, let me begin with, you just explaining to us what is this fascination of gangsters and celebrities? Where does the connection come in? I mean, in the days of yore, it was believed that the underworld was funding movies. It's no longer like that. It's become quite a corporate structure of funding movies. Why still does this connection seem to linger?
See, I would like to start from the beginning. The connection between the gangland and the movies or the Bollywood started it way back in late 50s. From late 50s to 70s, late 70s, it was Kareem Lala, Haji Mastan, and Vardarajan Mudliar and the likes. And subsequently, it was taken over by the likes of Salim and the D Company. So their relationship goes back decades, and the funding used to basically come because the gangs wanted to launder their money, and they wanted Bollywood, the glamour of Bollywood, to be a very, very safe haven to launder the money and put in all their black money into this, and the proceeds would be all laundered and become white money, white currency. So then the lure of women from the Bollywood. There are number of cases. I do not have to, in such a short time, I do not have to list all the cases. There are a number of people, right from Haji Mastan, who got married to starlets, and they had various relationships. The directors and producers were threatened into giving roles to the starlets, and in case they did not comply with the directions of the gang, there are cases where the directors have been shot also. So we have Javed Siddique, we have case where Mamta Kulkarni wanted to be cast into a movie. She was forced to be taken in that movie. Chinatown, I think, was the name of the movie. So there are a number of cases where both the money has come, the influence has come, the glamour and the glory has come with the connection between the mafia and the Bollywood. And even today, when the government has made this as an industry, declared this as an industry, yet the funding to this industry is not that easy to come from the legitimate channels. So a lot of funding still comes from dubious sources.
Okay, so that is interesting, because you now really have in fact you have listed companies who fund movies now. It is clear-cut corporate structure. You have international firms that come in. There are Indian companies who are funding international movies. Deepak Sharma, great to have you on the show. What is your insight into what's happening? I mean, we don't yet know whether this is a dubious letter. Is it a real threat letter or not? What does Lawrence Bishnoi and Goldie Brar have to do with Salman Khan? Can you make sense of all of the events that have been reported as headlines today?
I'll just recap. Jain Saab ne, he has narrated the crux of it. In time of Haji Mastan or Kareem Lala, if you go to late 80s, you'll find that, the underworld and the Bollywood celebrities, there was a very thin line. They were rubbing shoulders with each other, and they were funding films. And it went on till 93, the Mumbai blast, you can say. And after that, it was more or like with Chota Shakil or Dawood Ibrahim or Anis Ibrahim. It was with us or against us. Are you with us or are you against us? And it continued. And now, after Abu Salim and Ravi Pujari and all these gangsters arrived, it was the relationship was more venomous, I should say. It was the extortionists versus the celebrities. There was no scope of having a sympathy or empathy for any leading actor or actress. Now what I see is these gangsters, they have more firepower. The more they work on, like the gangs of Wasipur, they announce their targets. They do a running commentary on how they kill them, how they executed the shootout. And after the shootout, they take responsibilities like terrorist outfits. So the modus operandi is more or less more lethal.
So Deepak, are you saying that these gangs are even today alive, well and kicking, and have close connections or reaching out to those in the entertainment industry? That those links are very much there even today?
They're more powerful. They're more lethal. You see the killings of Gulshan Kumar, or you see the attack on. I just remember one attack of Manmohan Shetty. Manmohan Shetty, the owner of Adlibs and filmmaker. And I covered that story. It was around, I may be wrong on the dates, it may be 2001, May, or maybe 2000. And Abu Salim had executed. And a live conversation, a telephonic conversation was recorded by Mumbai police. And it's a coincidence that when your channel, Times Now was launched, I think in 2006. And that was the story, I think that was the first story did by Times Now. And they have telecasted those telephonic conversation of Abu Salim. And Manmohan Shetty had a very narrow escape.
Yes. But in the current day, Mr. Sharma, in the current day.
I'm coming to the point. So there was a transition from 2001, 2002, after Abu Salim, then Ravi Pujari arrived. Now these gangsters like Lawrence Bishnoi, they're convent educated. They have base in Thailand, they have base in Armenia, they have based in Canada. They have weapons like AN-94, the latest AK series assault rifles. And if you see the Moosewala killing, 600 rounds of fire, 600. So that is the firepower. They're more lethal, they're more ruthless, I should say. So that is what the transition is. If you see Haji Mastan, he was rubbing shoulders. If you go with Chota Shakil or D Company in the late 90s, it was with us, against us. But now they're more lethal. Now the gangsters, they operate like a terror outfit. So I'm more scared of their, stance, which is the present stance, the way they did with Musa Bala. So they can go to any extent.
What is the grouse now?
Then one thing more, I should say.
Let me just come to Mr. Jain. So today, if we are to understand that this, I wouldn't call it a nexus, but this connection is well live and kicking. Why are celebrities being threatened? Now, in Moosewala's case, as investigations are revealing, there seems to be some sort of a revenge hit. There are allegations that his, staff, his agent caught someone killed, and then this was a revenge hit, etc. But for all of the threats that we've, played out to you, Salman Khan, Shah Rukh Khan earlier, Farhan Akhtar, why are all of these people being threatened? Is there any clarity at all? Or are some of these cases being seen, not very seriously?
See, the connection is when you use a particular channel for funding, then you cannot suddenly dissociate yourself with that particular activity. Now, if the Bollywood has been using the funds from this kind of activity, the dirty funds, then suddenly, they become a part and parcel. There's a very thin line between how they will be threatened and how they will be treated. But I would certainly say that in the current scenario, the Bollywood is now not being threatened by the traditional mafia. The traditional mafia was from Mumbai, they were from around Mumbai, and they used to threaten the industry. Now the threat is coming from sources which are far away from Mumbai and which have come from other areas, like the northbound gangs, which is a new phenomenon. Now they are also finding the Bollywood to be a very soft target.
No, so let me just get some perspective from Deepak Sharma on this. Why the continuing threat? So earlier, Bollywood or maybe movies was a way to funnel unaccounted wealth or black money. Is that still the primary motive and goal? Or are there, other slights, real or perceived or imagined, which is why gangsters keep threatening these stars?
I think if you see the money involved in this, obviously it's the corporate. But see the amount of security they have. You name the top 100 or 50 corporates. Now, these celebrities, they do live shows, they have 2 or 3, you can say, bouncers with them. So they are more soft target. There's a more movement about them. And the security level, there could be a very huge, massive threat perception against them. But the amount of security they have got only private security, 2 bouncers, 3 bouncers, 1 gunner. I think very, very few celebrities have been provided some category security like X, Y, or Z, something like this. So I mean, associate my thoughts with Mr. Jan. They are sitting ducks. They are very soft targets. So it's easy to, cough up money from them. It's easy to extort them, easy to target them. You see the killing of Moosewala. So what my point is that celebrities, they are more soft target than the corporates or the politicians, which
So celebrities are like an easier ATM machine. It's not like they want something from them. They just feel that, they can be targeted more easily. Mr. Jain,
yes.
How seriously are you taking these threats? I mean, today we know that security would have been beefed up for Salman Khan, but we don't know yet whether this is, a prank, whether it's really written from some gangster. If a gangster wanted to threaten Salman Khan and Salim Khan, why would they write a note and leave it at this bench? There may be, more direct ways to get across to them or send a message. So are you taking this threat seriously at all? Do you think it should be taken seriously?
Precisely my point, ma'am. See, the gangs have become more, they have become bold and bolder. Now they are giving their threats on social media. They've been threatening their rival gangs also on social media. Therefore, to my mind, this kind of a note being left on a bench, which was supposed to be the haunt of Salman's father, to me it appears to be a big prank. But that said, I would still say that proper precaution should be taken. Moosewala fell to the bullets because he did not take precautions himself. And the security was withdrawn, but despite that, whatever little security he had, he did not even take that precaution. So he became a party to that, to his own killing. I'm sure that Salman and his family will be more prudent and they will be taking proper precautions. Mumbai police is doing their bit, and Mumbai police, I may tell you, are hands-on on this kind of a job. Their intelligence system, their collection of intelligence, their operations are absolute professional. So they will not be able to, the gangs will not be able to get the better of these people in Mumbai at least. Yeah. So I'm very sure of that. But this particular incident where all other threats are coming on the social media, a chitora is found on a bench and then it is being taken so seriously, to my mind, it's a big prank. I will not attach much of him.
Do you agree?
Yet I would take.
No, do you agree with that, Deepak, that if these 2 gangsters, or if someone wanted to threaten them, and we're taking this very seriously because look at what happened to Moosewala, would this be the modus operandi?
If a gang has more than 700 shooters, sharp shooters, if they have, and they have various bases abroad, I think whatever threat, I mean, it could be a prank, it could be a false alarm, but I think that adequate measures should be taken. And it's for the crime branch of the Mumbai police, which is a specialized agency. They should assess the threat perception. And I think always, if you take safety measure, that's the best. Life is something which is very precious.
So do you think that the safety measures right now, as far as these celebs are concerned, are being put up at the right level? Are they strong enough, or is it left to the devices of the celebs themselves? Deepak, I'll come to you first on this.
No, I think after the Moosewala killing, whether it's Shah Rukh Khan or Salman Khan or other pop singers from the Punjab or Bollywood, I mean, they should be provided adequate security, I should say.
Yeah. Mr. Jain, your take on that? Do you think the security of these celebrities need to be looked into once again?
Absolutely, because the private security that all these celebrities have does not have the kind of weapons against which they are fighting. See, the kind of AN-94 rifle, assault rifle was used in this case. If they have weapons like this, then their guns or Dunali Banduk is no match for them. So I think security has to be provided by the security forces, by the Mumbai police.
Yes.
But at the same time, the people also, the so-called celebs also have to take their own precautions and be a little more vigilant about their own security.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Jain. Thank you so much, Deepak, for joining us on the show and giving us an insight into what is definitely a catchy headline, but a serious issue underlying it. I want to go across to this report filed by my colleague Sandeep earlier in the day into what kind of measures are being taken by the Mumbai police after this letter was found.
Now we are out here at the Galaxy apartment. Since morning there have been, visits of several police officers from, Joint CP Law and Order, Vishwas Nagre Patil, to the local DCP Manjunath Singhe visited here, and then DCP Crime Nishandar, Sangram Singh Nishandar also visited at this place, and so far 4 people's statement has been recorded out here. One of them is Shrikant and Rajkumar Gupta. These are the bodyguards, and apart from that, Salim Khan's and Salman Khan's statement has been recorded in this case. Now, speaking about the matter, what information that we have got from Mumbai police is that, the CCTV wherein the letter was kept, those CCTVs are not functional. That's what we have been informed by Mumbai police officials, and hence Mumbai police is finding it difficult to find the person who kept that letter at that bench. Now, in this case, we just heard Mumbai police Commissioner Sanjay Pandey. He mentioned that it is very difficult to prove that it is a fake letter, although this matter is very serious, and nothing, nothing can be taken for granted, and in fact, we cannot take risk with Salman Khan's security. Hence, his security has been beefed up.
All right. Now, India has been reporting a surge in COVID-19 infections consistently for the past few days. States